red crits, bleeds, all the things that Warframe players think is meta.
When love isn't enough, you have to move on just to be numb. You know the rules there, no it's not.
What's good, folks? It's Nightmare Frame here with a new Warframe video coming at you with a Bronco Incarnon build and review. So, if you want an Incarnon adapter that can get red crits and bleed enemies, why not slap it onto a weapon that no one has touched or wants to touch and are forced to touch only if you want to get mastery rank and use it to craft the akimbo version for additional mastery. Hey, I saw what DE did here. So, how do you explain the Bronco Incarnon to people? Well, it's a handheld shotgun that doesn't feel like a shotgun. But hey, when have Warframe shotguns felt like shotguns?
You know what? You're absolutely right.
This weapon is all about raw damage and impact in your face. Why does that sound sexual? Its Incarnon mode turns into something similar to the Lato Incarnon. Pay close attention. It's not absolute AoE. You have to directly hit enemies for the weapon's shot to spread its damage. This weapon doesn't have great evolution perks because there are some that are just not worth using at all. So, if you want a list of them, here they are. I will tell you the actual useful ones to give you the best damage output. Evo 2, increase damage by 30, and if you have sprint speed of 1.2 or higher, you gain projectile flight speed. This is just a DPS increase, because projectiles will hit enemies faster, reducing delayed damage, and this weapon has damage fall off. So, increased projectile flight speed ensures you can be at a decent distance and still maintain consistent DPS. Evo 3, increase your magazine size by 2. Oh, don't you feel a bit bigger now? Bet you do, from its original 4. This weapon isn't that great at charging the Incarnon gauge, even though it has a very high pellet count. I don't know how that works. And it has a reload speed of 2 seconds. Low magazine and long reload aren't a good combo. I mean, if you were to put this into a real-world perspective, being smaller and lasting longer kinda, evens out. Right. No, I'm sorry. So, increasing it helps out quite a lot. And finally, Evo 4, increasing crit chance by a flat 20%. This makes this weapon a lot better. If you were to put this in gun perspective, it was held back by its measly 6% crit chance, especially with a decent baseline of a 2x critical multiplier. This weapon has an augment called Roofies. Dizzying rounds. Any damage done with Bronco. Any damage done with Bronco while having this mod equipped will stun and open enemies to finishers. If you can actually let him finish. Oh god. When you're 8 meters from the target. So this 8-meter requirement will also take effect if you have a DOT on the target. So you can shoot from afar, and as soon as you approach them, they get staggered and open to finishers without having you to actually physically hit them again. However, that part doesn't really matter as much. It serves as a nice CC, but the main takeaway from this mod is that it grants you 200% status chance. But first, let's take a look at the stats of this weapon. The weapon is IPS, Impact Puncture Slash, but primarily Impact. And when you hit enemies with its weapon's Incarnon form, it procs Impact. Wait a minute, Mr. Nightmare Frame, are you saying what I think you're saying? Almost, please listen up. It's not a force proc, as it will cycle between its base IPS and modded element. But what if your status chance is decently high and you're mostly proccing your highest weighted damage type? Yes, it's exactly what you're thinking. This makes it a perfect candidate for the Hemo Rage mod. Hemo Rage is the secondary version of Intrial Bleeding, an impact mod that has a 35% chance to apply bleeds. If your weapon has a fire rate lower than 2.5, you get 2 times the effects, because impact is the new bleed. Alright, without further ado, let's take a look at the builds. Starting off with the first Hemo Rage build, because there'll be 2 of them. As you see here, our base damage is secondary merciless. This also helps out with reload because you know this weapon needs it. Our faction damage mod multi-shot, the hemorrhage mod, and creeping bullseye for our crit chance mod just to lower that fire rate just a little bit. We got dizzying rounds to increase our status chance, target cracker for the crit damage, sharpened bullets for additional crit damage because we are going way above 100% crit chance, especially with that galvanized crosshairs. So adding all that crit damage will multiply our damage when we crit. Pistol ammo mutation for its regular mode. You can add steady hands to reduce the recoil, but I found prime pistol ammo mutation a lot better. Now you're saying, but hey, Nightmare Frame, where are you gonna get all these viral to enhance your blades? Well, that's when you use your Fox to spread the viral.
Oh, what do you mean, fox?
The Panzerwolfpfeiler? But it's categorized as a cat.
Buddy, this is the E we're talking about.
You're right. Anyway, using the Panzerwolfpfeiler to do questionable things to enemies, it allows you to enhance your damage with bleeds. And if you want to enhance your damage with bleeds even further, you can use the Warframe Ash. But why Ash? Well, he has the Smoke Shadow Augment for additional crit chance while invisible.
Oh, wow, that's actually pretty useful. What else does he do?
He also has his passive. It increased the potency of bleeds. You just do more damage with bleeds.
So that's why people use them for level cap disruption with all the fancy bleeding weapons.
That's absolutely right. Moving on to the second version of this hemorrhage build. If you don't want to use your Fox to spread all the coom on enemies so you can enhance your bleeds, you can actually mod your weapon for viral. But hey, why are the two elemental mods not ranked up? Well, you see here, this is to reduce the weighting. What does that mean? Meaning, if your viral is way too high, you'll be proccing more viral than you will be impact. So hemorrhage isn't that useful. Because if you have max viral, you will have a whopping 76 viral over the 51 impact. That's kind of sad. Yes, and you don't want that. That's why you have enough viral here, and dizzying rounds will help you increase that status chance. Well, that's pretty useful. Yes, it is. Alright, on to the third build for the raw damage build. This is the corrosive build. As you may have noticed, it doesn't have dizzying rounds because we want to deal that raw burst damage, hence why we have two 90% elemental mods and that juicy galvanized crosshairs for that crit chance, because you love the crit chance, don't you? I bet you do, don't lie. And for our base damage, I'm using Deadhead. This increases my headshot damage multiplied by 30% and gives me negative weapon recoil, so it makes the weapon a bit steady. And since we're not using hemorrhage, we went with lethal torrent, increasing the fire rate and the multi-shot. So it's just a lot of damage. And this build is just more flexible all around because you don't have to worry too much about proccing bleeds on enemies and just 1-2 tap everything in sight. Well, that's pretty useful. Yes, it is. Alright folks, as you may have noticed, I didn't pick the Lex, and we went for the Bronco instead. People were expecting, oh, Nightmare Frame's gonna pick the Lex. He likes big damage. I do like big damage. That's why I made the Bronco do big damage. But anyway, someone has to cover weapons that you weren't expecting. So if you've enjoyed and learned something from this video, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Seriously, the description is there. I mean, nobody reads the description, but you know, the description is there. Especially people who are asking, hey, what's the song playing? If you click the description, you would know. Anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more. And as always, peace.